Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you guys watched my last video or a video I've already posted, we made a desk. I did kind of a vlog and a how-to video, on how to make a desk. And if you watched that video, we cut a bit off of the desk when we were making it. And this is the piece right here. It's actually a pretty big piece. So instead of letting this go to waste, I actually need a little nightstand or a mini table for my room. So we're gonna use this piece and we're gonna sand it down. We're going to curve the edges a little bit more, cut them off, and then sand it down. And I don't know if we're going to put a varnish on it or not. I'm still trying to decide on that. And I think this will look pretty good. I'll show you guys where this is going, but right now at night, I'm putting my phone and my knife and my mask and everything on my table, and it's taking up a lot of room. So we're gonna have a mini table, and that's where I'm gonna put all that stuff. This is gonna be pretty handy. But for the legs, which you might be wondering about, you also might be wondering what this thing is back here. This right here is, of course, one of the two legs. And you might be like, what in the world is that? Where'd you get that? Well, this is from a workout bench that my grandfather made a long time ago, and I'm going to repurpose these. He actually welded all this together, so it has kind of a story behind it, and we're gonna use these as the two legs. The other one's still on the bench. I need to take that off, but these are gonna go on the thing like this, and hopefully that can kind of give you guys an idea. It's gonna go, let's see, like that, so that gives you a bit of an idea how it's gonna look. But I have to go get the other leg off the bench, so I'm gonna take you guys with me to go do that. So let's go. So here's the bench. I flipped it upside down. As you can see, time's kind of taking a toll on it. That's why I'm taking it apart. But I'm gonna go ahead and take these legs off, and I'll do that fast. Okay, well that's out. And there's our second leg. And next up, we're gonna sand the wood for the table, so let's head there now. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut the corners off so that we can round the corners. And I also do have my dad here, so I'm not doing this alone. So let's go ahead and cut the corners off. Decided that this is going to be the top since it just looks nicer, and the wood grain will show a lot more once we put the finish on it. And we're going to actually straighten the edge of this because it is a little bit crooked with a circular saw. And then we cut the corners. Right now it looks really rough. With an orbital sander, we're going to round the edges, which will look pretty good. Now there's also these bits from where, like at the sawmill, they started to cut and decided they didn't want to. So these are kind of ugly. I don't know if we're going to be able to fix that or not, because we'd like to retain as much of this top layer as possible, so we'll see what happens there. All right, so we've marked what we need to do to make this square, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it. So after that, it looks a lot more uniform, and we've also recut the edges just so that they're all more uniform. And now we're gonna start with the orbital sander. Okay, to sand this down, we have a battery-powered orbital sander with some 40 grit sandpaper that's probably aggressive enough to sand this down pretty fast. It's probably the most efficient, so now for some B-roll of cutting this down. I'm going to move to a finer grit sandpaper, and we're going to make this a lot smoother. Although it's pretty smooth right now, it's going to be great once we finish it. So after going over it with the finer grit, you can see, or hopefully you can see, I can definitely feel how smooth it is. It feels really good, and you can see we rounded the edges, and this thing is looking really good. And the bottom we just left pretty rough because no one's really going to see it. We're going to do a quick coat of urethane on the bottom and then on the sides, and then we're going to put the legs on so we can then put urethane on the top. We're going to do multiple coats on the top, one coat on the bottom. I'll update you guys when we put the coat on the bottom. Alright, so we applied the first coat of urethane to the sides because we're going to do multiple coats on the sides because you're going to see that. Only one coat's going to go on the bottom, and this is a satin urethane if you were wondering. We just think it'll look best for this. But it is looking so much better already after the first coat. If we go underneath, you can see what it looked like before and what it looks like now, and how much better that's going to look. So we're going to let this dry for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we're going to put the legs on the bottom. And now it's time to put the legs on. Okay, we are back in the, I was gonna say studio, I guess my room, and we finished this thing right here, and as you can see, we put urethane on the top. Now we actually did 3 coats, and I do want to explain why we did 3 coats and the process of doing it. So of course we just put 1 coat on really thick, and then we let that dry overnight. Then the next day it just needed another coat. Normally you want to put 2 coats on something at least, but so we just put a light coat on that, but there were some spots that we needed to sand out, so we sanded it heavily, and then we put a 3rd coat on, and it turned out like this. This thing turned out really well. It looks really good. And I'm super happy with how it turned out, and the story of, you know, me filming that other video going to get the desk, then we cut that piece off, and then I use this for another video, and I get to have it in my room all the time. So let's go ahead and put this where it's gonna go. So right now what I have here is kind of a mess, but we're gonna clean this stuff out, and then we're gonna put this here. There we go. I think I'm gonna put it like this, and it's gonna go right here. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Well, there we go. That's basically everything I carry in my pockets except for the flashlight. So if you want to find me and rob me, that's everything you'll get. But this is the finished product. It looks super great. And basically all this stuff, excluding the flashlight again, I just had on my desk. So, and not this desk, the old one. So it took up a lot of space. But now I get to put it all here, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. But hopefully you guys found this video helpful if you're thinking about making your own table or desk, and ignore them wearing a different shirt. Or hopefully you guys just enjoyed it, and if you're watching this just because you enjoyed it, thank you. You made it all the way to the end of the video. If you guys like this video and you want to go check out some of my other videos, consider going under this video, under the like button. You'll see my channel icon. If you click that, it'll bring you to all my other videos. And they're pretty interesting, and if you like what you see there, consider subscribing. It really helps me out, and you get to see all my new videos coming out. Lucky you. Peace out, guys.